There's so much new growth in this garden that I think I may have to split up and show off the 2 side beds today and then our main bed in the front yard tomorrow. But look at this. This is our muscadine cross grape. It's just taking over this trellis. That we're going to go ahead and put the trellis right along here and just let it vine and form an entire fence. These here are blackberries. We put some microlife acidifier on them earlier this year, and they have an exponential amount of growth. They've produced a ton of berries versus the ones on the side fence. They produced a ton of berries on last year's growth, but they did not produce hardly any new growth whatsoever. So acidifier is definitely a way to go for us. It did make a big difference. Look at this. Just a waterfall of blackberries. It's incredible. This is a thornless variety. I really, really love it. It's the Prime Arc. It's a blackberry from Arkansas State University, if I remember correctly, and it has been lovely. It's been great for the kids. It produces a very heavy crop. This one in particular, the berries are a little smaller, but it has a ton of berries still, and all the flowers were pink. I've never seen a blackberry with pink flowers until this season. This is our dill. It's pretty much spent for the season. These are the seed heads. We let them dry, and you can save the dill seed for seasoning, and you can use them for pickles, which is what they're known for. It provides seeds for next year. It's just all around, it's an amazing plant to have. So whatever seeds we don't eat, we just throw them back in the garden. This is just one plant, and it's providing thousands of seeds, and this doesn't include all the seed heads that have already been harvested off this one plant. It's amazing what nature can do. It truly is. Before I go down here, these were rutabagas and turnips that we left in the ground because we wanted some seed, and they're still growing down here in the understory of all these crops pretty well, which is nice. I've been using the leaves kind of like kale leaves. Oh man, another blackberry. This was our butterhead lettuce. You can never tell, but this is the seed stalk it produces, and then all of these will flower, and they produce a yellow flower, and when they die back, it turns in kind of a white flower, kind of like a wish flower that a dandelion produces. And those wish flowers are all those little white hairs are attached to seed. So it's pretty cool, but they'll just blow away in the wind. Here you can see one that has the little yellow flowers on it. Oh, they are beautiful. And these flowers are what will eventually turn white and turn into seed flowers. One of our mini chamomile plants. All of these seeds just fall off. All these yellow heads are hundreds of seeds, and they fall off everywhere. So when they say chamomile readily reseeds, just be prepared to have chamomile forever, wherever you planted it. Here's one of our tomato plants. I'm not sure what variety it is, but it is growing pretty tall. I got these little dollar store clips and clipped them onto the fence. It doesn't damage the plant. They're really great. I love them. Some more chamomile. This was our red oak lettuce. We let flower and go to seed, so it's working on creating seed itself. Look at those. I'm so excited about these. These are Sweet 100 cherry tomatoes. This plant's gonna get over 12 feet tall. It will just take over this entire trellis. So if you want an endless supply of tomatoes, this is it. It is a hybrid. I am not anti-hybrid. I'm very much for heirlooms, but I'm not anti-hybrid. Hybrid is not bad. It's just 2 plants bred together, and it means that you don't always have a stable crop. So if I save the seeds from this tomato, it may be like one of the parents, it may be like another. You never really know exactly what you're gonna get. But I do love this particular hybrid, that's for sure. Some more lettuce. My red Russian Kale. Isn't this the most beautiful kale? It's actually a variant between red and purple. So the more sun it gets these color leaves. So if you don't know, anthocyanin, it produces the red color. It's actually the most common pigment in all plant genetics, and it things tend to turn red whenever it's stressed out. So leaves will turn red. Right now it's turning red because of the extreme heat. During the winter, it gets a really deep purple color. Kind of like a plum purple. Look at these. These are up to my waist. I can't believe that. Isn't that incredible how such a small plant, such as lettuce, gets so tall? This is another one of my cherry tomatoes. It's doing wonderfully. All of those flowers right there. Another Sweet 100. This is our big boy tomato. It's finally producing its first flowers. I wanted to let the plant get a lot taller before letting it grow fruit, because those big boy tomatoes get so heavy, it'll just strain the plant. And I don't want any plant damage whatsoever or any breakage. It won't be long before it's in the 100s here. It's already been in the 90s. This is the first actual rain we've had in weeks. I've been watering. And it's really hard, even watering several times a week, to keep the plants hydrated. So I definitely want to get these tomatoes producing and as much fruit as I can before either illness sets in or it just gets too hot and they all get stunted. This is our dill plant right here. It's a baby dill. It seeded itself off of this big mama dill. This was one of my first dills. All of these have been cut off right here because I've been harvesting it. I have a little glass Prego jar that I use, and I just add everything into the Prego jars after they dry. And that's kind of how I do it. Definitely big on recycling whatever I can. So I try to get anything that I buy from the store in either cardboard boxes that it can be reused in the garden, or in glass jars that can be reused. These are more blackberry plants. You can see all of the new growth on them. This I bought from H-E-B, just like several of my tomatoes this year. I didn't start anything from seed. This is a Lemon Boy tomato. It gets to be about 8 ounces. Last year I tried to grow these and I just murdered pretty much every single tomato plant I had. This year, you can see all of them are doing so much better. I'm really impressed. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. I love yellow tomatoes, and if you know, it's one of the hardest tomatoes to find in the grocery store, yellow or green tomatoes. So looks like this blackberry plant is still busy producing flowers. This is aroma. It shouldn't be producing, or the fruit shouldn't be turning red already, but it is, and it actually looks like this one has blossom rot on the end of it. Look at that. So probably need to add some magnesium and calcium to the soil. This one, however, doesn't have any rot whatsoever. That's just the blossom, and it looks amazing. So that's something to watch out for. If you see this, know that your flowers need calcium or magnesium. Calcium is a lot of the times what it needs, but I did notice that with a lack of magnesium, it has trouble pulling calcium into the plant. So sometimes just adding a little Epsom salt water will make a big difference in your garden. Look at that. These are more, all of this is Russian Kale. I'm still harvesting it. You can see the caterpillar's been eating it. This is a biennial plant, so that means it'll continue to produce for 2 years before it seeds. So it's not set to seed until next spring. So I've been harvesting from this all fall, all winter, and all spring. And now it's soon to be summer. Some more lettuce. Down here I have some red oak lettuce that has actually gone and produced seed. So all of this has seed in it already. And I'm really excited for that. Isn't that just incredible? So all of these are already died back, but they're full of seed inside of them. And I'll just show you real fast. Look at that. All of those lettuce seeds. I'll just throw them back in there. They're not going to grow right now because it's too hot, but I guarantee you as soon as summer is over and fall hits, lettuce is going to be popping up everywhere. This is one of my squash plants. This is a type of patty pan squash called Sunny Delight. The squash only get about this big around. They're really cool scallop squash, but this plant is definitely not looking so great. We've had a huge trouble with squash bugs every year, but I actually think that I need to add some more nitrogen to this soil. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. That was once a chamomile flower. Yeah, it definitely looks like there's some stem damage to this plant. So what I do, because squash will continue to produce roots, I'll just bury the stem and it'll start producing roots along the edge of the stem, and that's going to give us a lot of new growth. So hopefully we can save the squash. It is one of my favorites. I've only got to harvest one squash of it so far, so I'm pretty excited. It's just beautiful to look at. Even if I gave all the squash away, I would grow it because it's just such a cool plant to show off. Here's another baby squash right over here. These are planted at the same time, but this one did not take off, and I think it's because the nutrients are different on this side of the bed than they are on the other side of the bed. So this side of the bed needs to be amended. So Thursday I'm going to go down and get some compost, or maybe even some ready to feed nitrogen, and spray that on there. I don't know what exactly I'm going to use. I even thought about throwing on some fish emulsion and all of that to see. Look at this. I don't know what kind of tomato it is. Maybe some type of cherry tomato, because it's just covered in unopened flowers. And so I can't imagine what it is. A squash. All of these are my strawberry plants, and they have done wonderfully this year. There are not many strawberries left on them. Strawberry season's pretty much over. We tend to get strawberries from late January through this time in May. Last week we harvested the last bits, but let me tell you, these were massive strawberries. I got them from H-E-B. I got a lot of my starts from H-E-B. This is our Tabasco pepper. I was hoping it was the strawberry. I want to say, I don't know. Honestly, I can't remember exactly what type of strawberry it is. It was Seascape strawberry. Look at these. This was the flower that's starting to come off. These are our Tabasco peppers. Just so many tiny peppers growing. And these are heirloom varieties, so if you save the seeds from them, it'll produce the same exact, pretty similar to them.